Hey YouTube, here we are in our Sunday finery. If you thought this was Lord Grantham, I understand why. Let's throw that out. Hey YouTube, so y'all have pretty much voted with your views. My Volkswagen stuff got, I don't know, 250 views or something like that. My Jeep stuff, I think my JK review was one of my better ones. I think it maybe got 500 views. The Land Rover, Range Rover stuff gets thousands of views. So the interwebs have spoken, and I have listened. Over the next couple of videos, we're going to be doing some service on my 2016 TD6. It's coming up on 110,000 miles, and so that's why it's getting some extra attention. The first video we're going to do is oil change, and we're going to try to answer the question, what is better, suck or drain? We're going to take as much of the oil out of the drain tube as we can, and then drop the skid plate and see how much is left in the sump. If you've watched my previous videos, you know that I've switched to 5W40 as opposed to 5W30, and I also change every 5,000 miles. So we're coming up on 110. The last one was about last March, and it's now coming up on September. So gonna change the oil, and then the next videos that we've got coming up, or the next series of videos coming up, I'm gonna do the fuel filter and both differentials and a gearbox service. So if you want to follow along with all that, hit the subscribe button. I think it's somewhere down over here, and follow along with us. Thanks for watching this one. Let's get to it. You can see that that my driveway is a little bit sloped, and so I've got it set up, and this is about as level as I can get it, so that I don't have people saying, well, you weren't level. Front to back, it's fairly level. Side to side, it's a little bit off. It's tilted towards the driver's side or left side. I think it will be a decent representation of seeing which is better. As you can see, I guess let's start back here a little bit. Intake hose, and the intake, there's the oil fill. I'll open that up in a minute. The oil filter cover, I might have to drop that down. I've got an 1.25 inches, I believe. 1.25 inches fits, which I think is 32 mil. And I don't have metric that big, so being a colonist from way back, just because of the weirdness of the angle and the fact that I'm on a step stool, I had to get a breaker bar, but it's really not that tight. There's nothing metallic to attach this to. What we're going to do is we're just going to loosen it enough to let it start draining. This engine's also pretty hot. I don't know why diesels are so much hotter, or they seem to retain their heat a lot longer. So I can feel that the O-ring is out of the sump now, or out of its fitting, and so there should be some air getting in there to let it drain down. And we will also take off the cover. I bought this the fluid extractor, BILITOOLS, I guess. I'll put a link in the description, of course. Hook it up to the airline. When you take this little pin out, it is an extractor. If you leave the pin in, screw it in, then it is a filler. So I'll end up using that with when I do the transmission service. But anyway, comes up here, has a series of different size hoses. This one happens to fit the Range Rover, the extraction tube. So I got that pushed down on there pretty good. All right, so I've got the hose turned on and the suction is in, and so let's let her rip. See it coming up. Hopefully you can hear me over all the noise, but the being fairly new to diesels, it blows my mind how black the oil is. It looks like this oil has been in here for 100 years, and it's what is it, a little over 5 months old. What's it called? Bernoulli's principle. Everybody have that in like 8th grade science. So this has a capacity of 8 liters, which I just now thought of. Fortunately, this is 6.3 quarts. Up on this side, I think we may have gotten all we're going to get. You can see that this is clear, so I don't get a bunch of comments on the video. I'm going to let this run for another couple of minutes. But I really do not see any more coming out. But these are 15 mil bolts. There's a bunch of them. These two over here, hoping you can see. These two over here, there's a little spot where you can slide them backwards. So those are kind of the last ones that I take off. I'm missing one in the front, so I'm going to have to go source that from my local Ace Hardware. I've just got a little mini Ugga-Dugga here. Let's see if this gets them off. Nope. So I have to break them first. So across the back, 1, 2, 3. There's a fourth one over here that probably is not on camera. So there's a row in the middle here. It's a weird angle. And I should just break that. Keep scooting down. And so I'll take this off. Pretty good sized bolt. That's one. Seven, 8 up here, but I'm missing one. So, all right, and the skid plate's aluminum. It is light enough that one person can do these. So, actually, I'm going to slide it that way so I can get to it. Ooh. Kind of not good. All kinds of leaking stuff down here that will be dealt with another day. Alright. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's some oil drips there on the bottom of the sump, and you can see if you look up there, here's the drain plug, which is actually above the sump. So I'll kind of be surprised if I get anything out of this. I will probably still crawl under the truck just because I like looking around and seeing such things as that. And when we get back underneath here, hopefully you can see that. There's the fill plug is kind of up to the right, and here's the drain plug for the front diff. So where is that oil coming from? Depending on how much we get out of here, I may flip my thinking on this. Go ahead and use the suction tube. Let's see if we can get another light go. So there's a good shot. This goes up. Maybe you can see it. Turns into a hard pipe up there, and that is the suction tube up above So I undid what I believe is the bottom end of the suction tube, and as you can see, there is some coming out, but not a whole lot. In fact, that was very little. It's going to be hard to even measure that. I'm going to let that drip for a little bit, and I will also grab the, pretty sure it's a 13 mil. Do the 13 mil. I might need a new connection here. I don't know if that's what was leaking or not. Seems to be coming from higher up though. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I'm a big fan of running a ground directly to either the starter or the alternator. The ground straps for this thing, or the earth straps, are behind the wheel wells, I believe, and we don't get a lot of salt in the south, but my L322, the ground fell apart, destroyed a couple of alternators and a couple of starters. So while I'm under here for the 10 or 12 bucks it costs to get the auxiliary ground strap, I'm just going to do it. All right, so after searching 5 minutes for a piece of steel to get my light to attach to, here's so this is the suction tube, the bottom end of the suction tube, which you can see is lower than the sump bolt, and so the drain plug is, when I undid it, in my own light there. So when I undid the sump bolt, absolutely nothing came out. It is 13 mil, like pretty much all sump bolts, but you can see that we're still just barely dripping here. This will not be enough to even measure. So if you've got a good extractor, I think that extraction is the way to go, unless you want to just come up underneath the truck. As all my YouTube friends in the UK say, result. Go ahead and put this back on. Taking a guess at where the camera is, so hopefully you're seeing something. And again, it's amazing how black diesel the oil is for diesel because of the soot. Put the sump bolt back in, because that would be stupid. There really is not even enough. I mean, I can't tell you milliliters, but I don't think there's much in the way of milliliters in there. So I'm going to call it good, or complete drain with the suction. And so the plan is I'm going to go ahead and fill up the oil. I've got the sump plug torque back up, and fill up the oil. I'm going to do the auxiliary ground, and I'm going to do the front diff. May end up in different videos, but the thought is, if with the sump full, I can see if this thing is leaking, if this is where the oil is coming from, and if so, I can maybe get a new one from Range Rover. No idea what that part number is. So we'll go back up top. All right, so this video is going to be all over the place. Thank heavens for editing. So you can see that I got it's a 4-gauge cable. I'm going to run it from the lug under the bonnet down to a bolt on the starter. So we'll see the bottom. Here's the part number. So looking through here, probably a little hard to see because it's dark, but no metal shavings, which is good. Here's our Mann filter from Atlantic British. Make sure you talk to Gary when if you call him or email him. Here's the Mann filter part number. Here's the Mann part number. Here's the Range Rover part number. Nothing super magical. But the new filter, I did put on the the new O-ring and greased it down with some of the old stuff. I don't think it matters, but the words were on the bottom, made in Czech Republic. So the Mann filter stuff was on the bottom. Just going to leave it. Snaps in. Should be flush with the top. Okay. Go ahead and stick it back in. And since it's snapped in, I can turn it upside down, get it down in there. Certainly start it by hand. And it only needs, I think it's 3 to 5 Newton meters. So once that O-ring engages, you can't twist it by hand since it's down in that little hole. That's bottomed out, and then I'm just going to go about not even a 1/16. We should be good on that. Again, that was a 32 mil, and I'm also going to, while I'm up here, put the drain tube back on. So you can see that the marks line up here. We've got the filter in. Get us some fresh new oil in here. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'll get another shot of it, but I use Shell Rotella T6 5W40. It's full synthetic and made for diesel engines. I have some left over from last March. I bought a 5-gallon jug, or maybe it's a 2.5-gallon jug. So I'm going to have to measure out another 2.3 quarts. All right, maybe a little hard to see. This is 2.5. We're going to call that 2.3. And I forgot my funnel. And the on the back, maybe you can see it, the numbers I'm looking for back here are CH4 meets API service. Let that drip down a little bit. All right, so the next plan is to put the auxiliary strap over this. So we're going to say 13 mil. All right. Perfect. Hopefully this is long enough. It said 40 inches, but I don't know. May have to go to the alternator instead. Trying to avoid spinny parts and hot parts. All right, so the plan, if I can find the other end of my lead, which I can't, the plan is to take this off and put it, that's a good bolt for the body of the starter. It's probably a 10 mil. See it right there. Actually, you can see the, I don't know that I can get to it, but kind of right up in there, you can see the ground strap, and that one looks like it's in really good shape. This has been a, this is a 2016, and this has always been in the South, so that's probably why it still looks good, but I don't think it's going to hurt anything, and if I can find the other end of that, it will do nothing but help. too bad. All right. Let's see if we can get you up in there. You can see the auxiliary line coming down from the top, and this is on the body of the starter, so that should be a good direct ground. While we're under here, let's wipe that oil off the bottom of the starter. That leak must be fairly high. I don't know if that's the, I'm wondering if this thing is maybe the oil level sensor. It would seem like that was just electric though. This is definitely the sump, and it's got 6.3 quarts in it. So that doesn't appear to be leaking. We've got 6.3 quarts of oil in it, and so far no leaks out of the bottom of this. So I don't think it's this connection that's leaking. And there's oil higher up, so I'm thinking it's something up there. I don't know. It could be. I know on my L322 the valve covers or rocker covers were susceptible to leaks. So that might be it. So just to wrap this up, it may be in 3 different videos, but we changed the oil and tested the suction, and I'm a convert to the suction method now because it's actually lower. I just want to make sure that I've got that. Here is the drain plug for the sump. Here is where the suction tube comes in. You can see it's actually lower. When I popped this off, a little bit of oil came out after the suction. When I took this off, absolutely nothing came out. So the suction tube is lower than the sump plug. We also added a auxiliary ground, hoping I'm getting that. Added an auxiliary ground strap or earth strap to the body of the starter, and up above that you can see a braided earth strap. It seems like it's in great shape. Like I say, this is a Southern truck. We don't do salt, and so ours don't get destroyed. And then we did a drain and fill of the front diff. So it got kind of dark and kind of late, but I got to say, I'm a convert using the suction tube. Unless you have another reason to be down underneath the skid plate, I would say that it is a fine way to extract the oil. The tube for it is actually lower than the drain plug. So in theory, you're getting more of the oil than you would going through the drain plug. When I pulled the little connector down there, I mean, just, I don't know, a couple milliliters came out. And based on where the drain plug is, and it would leave at least that much, if not more. So through this little experiment, I'm a convert. I'm gonna be using the suction method from here on out, unless there's a reason for me to be above the skid plate. So hopefully you learned something. I certainly did, and I think we're gonna call it a day on that. We also put in an auxiliary ground strap. It runs down to the to a mounting bolt on the starter. The next one will probably be the both differentials, and then we'll do the transmission service. And last but certainly not least, we're going to try to tackle this fuel filter. And it doesn't look like, I don't know, maybe, I think you got to take some plastic off to get to it. It's situated right up in there. So we'll have to read up in the service manual and see what the deal with that is. If you found any of this useful or educational, I know I sure did. I never would have thought that I would choose the suction tube over just draining the thing from the bottom. But if you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and I appreciate you watching. My time is up. I thank you for yours.